What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to tonight's show. I'm your host Craig. As always, this is your show. You let me know what it is that you want to talk about. We'll go through the RAPHINHA stuff. We'll go through lots of other bits and pieces as well. Just a heads up, tomorrow I'll be recording my Leicester City preview, and I'll be recording another preview video. Actually, we'll be going live with a preview with Lee Chappie tomorrow at 4:30 as well on the channel. So please do keep an eye out for that one. But my predicted 11 score prediction video and my chat with Leon from Boyle Sports, that'll be going out later on tomorrow evening. But look, lots of love to all of you. I hope that you're all well. As always, I want to start out by thanking our sponsors, Boyle Sports, for all of their support. And look, ladies and gentlemen, it's not been a great couple of weeks for Liverpool, but all of that pales in comparison to the news that broke today, the news that a few of us have known for a while, but of course, out of respect, would not go public. Unfortunately, the news came out that Jurgen Klopp's mother Elizabeth passed away, and he wasn't even able to attend the funeral, unfortunately. I believe it happened just ahead of the Burnley game a couple of days beforehand, and all of our love, our best wishes, our thoughts and prayers are with the entire Klopp family. That woman gave birth to an absolute legend and raised the man to be who he is today. So from all of us at the channel, from every single Liverpool and football fan around the world, our thoughts, condolences, prayers and best wishes go out to the entire Klopp family for what must be a very difficult time. I can't imagine being unable to travel for my own mother's funeral, and I know that there are lots of people around the world who've been affected in a similar way that haven't been able to pay their last respects to loved ones who have passed away. So to all of you who've lost a loved one, and especially of course to our gaffer Jurgen Klopp, all of our love and best wishes are with you guys, and amen. That's all I can say. May she rest in peace, and she knows she's left the world with a beautiful man. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Mark Mighty Red, lovely to see you back, buddy. Welcome back to Anfield Agenda FC. And look, it's the news that we kind of knew about, folks, but out of respect, of course, you never go public with this stuff until it's the right time, until the club and the manager decide it's the time, because it is his decision to make, of course. Very, very sad time. As I said, I can't imagine what the gaffer must be going through, or anybody who has lost a loved one during this pandemic that hasn't been able to attend a funeral. I know Pep Guardiola lost his mother as well, and it's been a tough time all around, ladies and gentlemen. That man has kept his head down, kept doing his job, and kept trying his best for our beloved football club. That's why we love the man so much, ladies and gents. How are we? All in the chat. Anyway, nice to see you win. Don't forget, as soon as I'm finished on here, Jack is doing a watch along of the Everton FA Cup game. If you want to head over and watch that one, Everton against Spurs, on Mundo Sporto. So I'll be on here for about 40 minutes or so, and then if you fancy heading over and joining Jack, please do go over to Mundo Sporto. Jack's hosting a watch along over there, and yeah, lots of you in the chat as well. Lovely to see you all. I hope that you're well. Let me know what you want to talk about. As I said, I can go through my bits and pieces. I have a few updates to give you from training today. Obviously to talk about RAPHINHA and other potential signings in the summer, but like I always say, folks, I want you to steer the show. I want you to tell me what you want to talk about, and I'll go from there. So look, let's dip into the chat and see how we're all feeling. A lot of respect from other clubs, absolutely, and I want to say that football fans around the world, football clubs around the world have been fantastic in their condolences and their acknowledgements towards Jurgen Klopp and his family, and that's what the football world is all about, ladies and gentlemen. It's the beautiful game that's filled with beautiful people, beautiful clubs that do things in the right way. So yeah, nothing but love as always to all those who've reached out to Klopp, the club and his family. Right, so you want to start with RAPHINHA to Liverpool. Right, let's have a little chat about that one. Right, so first of all, the first I'd really heard about this is when our own Jack Gill started talking about his love of a potential transfer of RAPHINHA to Liverpool, and I thought to myself, is Jack just picking something out of the air? But as the days went by, the links have intensified to RAPHINHA. And look, I think he signed from Ron last year for about 17 million quid and has been very, very good in that Marcelo Bielsa Leeds team. And they won't want to let him go for sure, but he does. The more I've looked into it, and Sam Maguire wrote an excellent piece today on RAPHINHA and what he would bring to Liverpool and what his strengths and weaknesses are. And the more I've read into it and the more I look at it, I'm sold. I'm ready. Sign me up. 24 years of age, I believe, if I have that correctly, and right profile for us. Certainly somebody who isn't shy of doing some defending, somebody who isn't lacking creativity, somebody who will take a man on, somebody who will be a pain in the backside to opposition defences, and somebody who I think would fit in very well to a Jurgen Klopp system. Now, of course, the big question will always remain, what would that price tag be? You know, when you're buying footballers from other Premier League clubs, there tends to come a premium with that because they've got Premier League experience, and Leeds, I said, only brought this guy in a year ago for, I think, may have been a club record fee of £17 million. So he's obviously not going to be wanted to let go by Leeds, but, you know, if Liverpool go hard after this guy, I can see it being a good fit. I mean, I'm not going along and saying that this is definitely happening, folks, are far from it, but it is a good profile of player and the right profile of player that I think we should be looking at. Not the superstar signings that we may hope for and that we may get in the summer, but I think RAPHINHA certainly looks like one that we could welcome into the club happily. I mean, from what I've seen from playing for Leeds, he's always involved in the good moments. He's not shy about putting in the work rate, and again, the defensive aspect of his game is something that can't be underestimated as something that could be attractive to Klopp and our recruitment team because of the way we play. So for me, yeah, I'm happy if you got a fee of, let's say, 40 million quid, something like that, and I'm just pulling that number at my backside because I've no idea what a potential transfer fee could be. But, you know, I want to know your thoughts on this, ladies and gentlemen. Do you think there's anything to this RAPHINHA talk? Would you like to see him? Have you seen much of him? Did you watch him when he was in France with Ron? I won't lie and say I didn't. I've only really noticed the guy since he's come into the Premier League. Prefer Pedro Neto, said Dara Azizi. He's a good player, and he has mentioned again, there's a good piece in the Echo about this if anybody wants to go and have a read of. They go through some potential marquee signings for Liverpool with some potential others just in case we couldn't get them, and Pedro Neto was mentioned as one of those. But I think for the likes of RAPHINHA and for, let's say, Harvey Barnes, which is another player I think the club are looking at, who would of course come with a premium being English, and Leicester are a club that don't budge on valuations of players. We've seen that before with the likes of Harry Maguire and stuff. So Harvey Barnes, RAPHINHA and Pedro Neto seem to be three names that have been tallied around, but Neto being the least experienced of them and the least proven, I think, of the three names that we've touched on there. So I've always been an admirer of Harvey Barnes. I've spoken when I've talked to Lee Chappie about my admiration of the guy. I think he would fit in very well at Liverpool, but RAPHINHA would make a lot of sense as well, and I'd be more than happy if that's a deal that Liverpool got over the line in the summer. Hey Craig, any specific players you want to see at the club, dream, or just because you think they would be good? I always thought that Mbappe, yes, look, it's a dream, it's probably a myth, it probably never happened, but Mbappe is definitely the one that for me just would be a natural, seamless fit into what we do. I think we need to get players that are going to run at defences again. It's something that's been irking me from what we've seen of Liverpool lately. We don't seem to be just running at men anymore and taking them on, and I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's a tweak to the system, but you often get that with youth, with I like to say the petulance of youth. They've no fear, and Mbappe will be perfect in that. Sancho will be another great option. And the Haaland stuff, the more I look into Haaland, the more I think there's probably no chance of him joining Liverpool. Mainly, you know, Mino Raiola's his agent. You know there's going to be a load of add-ons there. You know he's going to want a big fat signing on fee for himself, let alone his player. So I don't know if the Haaland thing would ever come to fruition, but you know those are the types of players that I'd like as well. Kate, welcome back to Anfield Agenda FC. A few people renewing their memberships. Really appreciate that. If you guys do want to join Anfield Agenda FC, you get use of all those emojis. You get the badge beside your name. You get into our Discord group. And we'll need somebody from our Discord group, by the way, to pick this week's charity bet before tomorrow. So anyone in the Discord group that wants to have a pop, that has a Boyle Sports account, of course, and is over the age of 18, let me know in the Discord group and I'll get that sorted out for you ahead of Saturday's game against Leicester. Oh, and it is £4.99 a month, by the way, to join Anfield Agenda FC, which is, you know, in par with most other channels. But look at that number, top left, folks, 73,400 subscribers. Oh my goodness, I can't tell you how pleased we are. We've had over 10,000 new subscribers in the past 28 days, over 1.7 million views, and over 8 million minutes of watch time. Wow, and thank you. I don't know what else to say other than thank you from all of us, and we hope this continues to go. And 100k couldn't be out of the question by the end of the season if this rate continues. But you know, as always, folks, we don't count our chickens, but we appreciate it. And again, just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to those that have given the channel a watch, have hit that subscribe button, and have come across and shown us a little bit of love. Said said, I agree, young athletes regardless of the sport tend to go crazy and fast paced, so we need it. Yeah, I love that, man. There's nothing that makes a fullback shit themselves more, or that makes me get behind someone more than just having a run, just taking the ball down and running. And I know that there are some negatives to it. I know, particularly with fullbacks being dispossessed, it leaves you open to a counter-attack, but our players are more than good enough to tuck in and cover. They're more than used to the system that we play, so I want to see a bit more of that. I want to see whoever comes into Liverpool, I want to see that arrogance, that petulance, that just damn determination to get by their man. What about Mbappe? Look, man, I love Mbappe. Mbappe, if ever there's a time for the club to have a pop at Mbappe, if ever there will be a time during that man's entire career, it's this summer. 1 year remaining on his PSG contract. Of course, Mauricio Pochettino and the guys at Paris Saint-Germain are going to try and get him to sign a new deal. He is the face of French football. They will want him to stay there. But if he decides that his future lies elsewhere, realistically, the only way we could look at funding a deal like that would be to sell one of our front three. And that's before you even talk about his wages. But for any club that ever had ambitions of going after Kylian Mbappe, this summer is the time to do it. Because the negotiating power for the player and for clubs that are looking to buy him is far greater, because he's just got that 1 year remaining on his contract. Still probably going to cost you 150 million upwards, but that's for a player who's probably worth at least 250 million if he had a few years left on his contract. So, you know, we can all dream, but we know the way our owners go about things, and yeah. So again, I think it will be a sell to buy scenario there, and that's before we even discuss the wages. Supreme Savage said HITT Sports included you in one of his latest videos. Yeah, I'd heard about it. I had a little look at it. The guy who said it to me yesterday played it up far more than it was. Niall, the guy, I think his name is, said nothing wrong. He just had a little laugh, nothing wrong with it. Proper sense of humour, fair play. The guy runs a great channel, nothing but love from my end anyway. Patson Daka is another good show, Fran. We haven't heard much of Daka recently. I know we looked at him and we are still monitoring him, of course. We know that he's there at Salzburg. He's represented by Freddie Canute. Spurs have also looked at him. And we do have a good working relationship with Salzburg and with the whole Red Bull family. So that could be a very tidy piece of business. Whoever gets Patson Daka, if they get him at a reasonable fee, which I think they will, they're going to get themselves a very good player. And I would have no problem whatsoever if Patson Daka came to Liverpool. Actually, far from it. I'd be very happy with it. Shocked Craig actually said my name right. People never do. Smart man. Buddy, I am known as being terrible with pronunciation, so I always try, but I'm glad on this occasion at least I got it right, or Saeed, I got it right, excuse me. Neymar wants Mbappe to stay and he's signing a new deal. I spoke with Graham Hunter. If you guys haven't had a chance to watch the interview I did with Graham Hunter during the week, please do check it out, because we go into detail. I say we. The great man Graham, who knows far more about Spanish football than I ever will, went into detail about the whole situation with Neymar and with Messi, and don't rule out the possibility of Lionel Messi being approached massively by Paris Saint-Germain to go in there and, you know, get back partner in Neymar. Manchester City still aren't out of the hunt for Lionel Messi, no matter what they're saying publicly. Again, I urge you to watch that video of Graham Hunter, because his knowledge of the whole Messi situation and his knowledge of Spanish football is second to none. What else have we got? So I want to move on and talk about training in a couple of minutes as well. People still ask me about Diogo Jota. Diogo Jota is not ready yet. He's done a little bit of work, as we've seen at Kirby, a little bit out on the pitch as well, but he still isn't ready. He won't be ready for the weekend, and I think it's pushing it to think that he may be ready for the Champions League first leg against Leipzig. For those that aren't aware, by the way, that game against Leipzig, as you know, isn't able to take place in Germany. Budapest has been confirmed as the location for that, February the 16th, 8 p.m. kickoff. And of course, we'll be doing a watch along here of it on Anfield Agenda. So hope that you guys can, you know, come across it and watch that game with us. It is, I think Manchester City's game is also taking place in Budapest, and I think Arsenal have to travel away again for their game against Benfica in the Europa League. I think that's at a neutral venue as well. Robert Wagner 20, brilliant mate, well done. I will retaliate, sir, with 6. But bit of fun, Robert, nothing wrong with a fella. Maybe you're talking about somebody's age, I don't know. I assume anyone who puts number 20 is a United fan, mate, that's coming in for banter. Craig, how are you doing? I'm good, Tyler, buddy, I hope you're well as well. I'm having a good day today, man. Busy day yesterday. Today was a bit more chilled. And tomorrow I'll be joined by Leon and Ian Brewster, who's the father of Rian Brewster, and we're going to be doing our live show as always tomorrow from 6:30 p.m. on the channel. I'll also have my preview for the Leicester City game going out tomorrow night, and I'll be joined by Lee Chappie for a live Leicester City preview and a Leicester fan preview pretty much for this one. 4:30 tomorrow again. That'll be going live, so get your questions ready if you've anything you want to ask Lee or Anton. We'll be live from 4:30 tomorrow. Lots of stuff coming up. It's a busy week time, folks. It's a great time to be around. It's a great time to be a football fan. There's lots of stuff happening, so keep it tuned. Make sure you've got those notifications turned on, and as always, please do drop a like on the video and let people know about us if they don't already. The more the merrier. The more people join the Anfield Agenda family, the merrier. Right, more of your stuff to go on with. I prefer this, by the way. I mean, I could sit here and have an agenda done out of topics that I want to talk about in a particular order, but I think it's more natural if we do it this way and you guys tell me, what we want to talk about. Interestingly, I read an article today that someone mentioned net spending in the chat there. So I read an article earlier on today that said that since we've won the Champions League, Liverpool's net spend has been plus 1.3 million. And that's a caveat about that. That's before Harvey Elliott's transfer fee, which hasn't been agreed yet between Liverpool and Fulham and looks like it's set to go to a tribunal. That hasn't been included in that. But yeah, we're in profit, technically, from net spend since we've won the Champions League. So, I know we're in a COVID world, but, we're going to have to do stuff this summer. I don't like some of the murmurings about it could be a quiet summer. I'm sorry, it can't be a quiet summer. We need 2 or 3 new faces in to refresh the squad and to push us on. And I hope and think that we'll get them. But yeah, you get mixed reactions and mixed views on these things. Manchester City's against Gladbach. Cheers for that one, pal. Naby Keita news. Still not training. Nope, still not ready, still not back. So, from today's training session, this is the latest news. Naby Keita is not back and ready to go yet. Diogo Jota is not back and ready to go yet. Worryingly, Fabinho and Thiago were absent from training today, as was Caoimhín Kelleher. Also on that, Gini Wijnaldum was training separate from the team. I think just doing different fitness work or something like that. Maybe to help him with rehab, because the man's played an awful lot of football recently. So yeah, that's the latest from today's training anyway, apart from the fact that Reece Williams got himself a new hairdo. Other than that, that's where we are at right now. Caoimhín Kelleher was absent, Fabinho was absent, and Thiago was absent. Now that's not to say that they're completely ruled out. I do not know for the Leicester game. I'm just telling you they were absent from training today, and that Gini was doing some stuff separately as well. And Diogo Jota and Naby Keita still not ready to return to full training with the rest of the squad. That's where we are, folks, with the latest updates with regards to injuries and stuff like that. The RAPHINHA news, for those asking, who are coming in a little bit late. Liverpool have been linked with this guy a lot in recent days. He signed for Leeds. I think, I'll ask Joe this, I think he was a record signing for Leeds from Rom for 17 million quid. And Liverpool have been linked with him, and I can see why. Himself, Harvey Barnes and Pedro Neto are the 3 names that seem to be doing the round as players that Liverpool are potentially looking at trying to recruit this summer. Again, if I break them down individually for you, Pedro Neto will be the most inexperienced and probably not ready yet, I don't think, to step up. Harvey Barnes I would have in an instant, but with Leicester, you've got the English tax, as we like to call it, for an English player. We've got Leicester City, who are very good at negotiating and holding their ground when it comes to the valuation of a player. And then we have Leeds, who, would they want to move on their record signing? I couldn't tell you, honestly, but I would take RAPHINHA in a heartbeat. And again, a shout out to a good article from Sam Maguire, who wrote a good piece on what RAPHINHA could potentially bring to this Liverpool team. Respect from a United fan. Respect right back to you, buddy. So Harry said, Deo Upamecano. I've long said this, and I'm going to keep saying it, and I've been right on other stuff in the past, and I'm not somebody who comes on here to rub shit in people's faces when I've said stuff, but from what I believe, from what I've read, and from the few murmurings that I've heard, Deo Upamecano is most likely to end up at Bayern Munich as a replacement for David Alaba in the summer. We know he has a 40 million quid release clause. I remember reading a piece from Germany at the time that suggested that he likes the idea of staying in Germany and continuing on his career. And Bayern Munich is a very attractive club for any footballer. They're one of the biggest clubs in the world, one of the best run clubs in the world. And you can see, a player who's playing in Germany with Leipzig right now, you can see why the appeal of going into that all-conquering Bayern Munich side, you can see the appeal of that. I think you'd agree. For us, I think the real secret for us is going to be, how does KABAK get on? we know the transfer fee that's going to cost if we want to sign Ozan Kabak on a permanent basis. 18 million. We've got the, I think, 1.5 million loan fee. And if he does well, 18 million could be an absolute steal. I know that there are some clauses that could bring that up to closer to 25, but that would be an absolute bargain if he turns out to be the player that we all hope. And then, of course, look, there may well be room for another centre-back. We'll talk about that as the season progresses and we get more updates on Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk and the likes as well. But I've always believed that Upamecano will end up at Bayern Munich. It's been what I've been told and what I've read for quite a long time. And look, when the summer transfer window approaches, I'll get Jan Fjorthoff back on the channel and we'll have a chat. Jan is obviously very close to German football as well, and it's good contacts in Europe, so we'll get Jan on and hopefully have a chat around that one. And I want to apologise yesterday, by the way. I had every intention of doing a stream last night at 9:30. So yesterday was an incredibly busy day for me. I was on from 4 o'clock and I was streaming right through. And I planned on going to an Anfield agenda, late night agenda at 9:30. But I was covering the Manchester United West Ham game on Mundo Sporto. And with that going to extra time, by the time that was all over, it was too late. So yeah, it was like a 7-hour stream day nearly yesterday for me. I was mentally exhausted by the end of it, but I feel good and refreshed today because all I've had to do today is I helped a young man out who's studying in John Moores University, studying journalism. Asked could I do a Zoom interview with him for his degree, and I'm more than happy to do stuff like that if I have the time. So had a lovely chat with Zach earlier on, and now I'm here with you wonderful people, and yeah, that's a good day for me. I'll take that. That's a win. What do I think about... I don't know who that lad is, mate. Sorry, Kelly. I mean, I'll be the first person to tell you the truth. If I don't know anything about a player, I won't lie to you. I'll tell you the truth about it. And that... Arrazabal, now that is another option that has been looked at, Addison. Sociedad, if my memory's correct for that guy. Putting up decent numbers this season in La Liga. I think I happened to read a little bit about him earlier on, and again, people who know a lot more than me about Spanish football say that this guy's a good talent as well. So that's a good shout, Addison. Hi Craig, would you start both our new centre backs on Saturday or just one? Just one, mate. I was hoping to see Kabak again. We don't know what the Fabinho situation is here. So Fabinho's unavailable, let's say. You're probably going to see Henderson and Kabak. But ideally, I'd like to see Fabinho and Kabak with Henderson moved into midfield to play alongside Thiago. And I don't want to give away too much of my predicted 11 because, I'll go through that tomorrow. We'll be talking with Lee Chappie, and then I'll do my preview videos I always do with Leon from Boyle Sports as well. We'll sort out our charity bet and see if Boyle Sports have any offers on this weekend ahead of that Leicester game. That Leicester game for me is the worst possible kick-off time. 12:30. I hate those kick-off times. Basically means I get no sleep for those. I know, I'm moaning about getting no sleep at 12:30, but you know me, folks. I keep very strange hours. What would you think about links with Vinicius Jr.? We've been linked with Vinicius Jr. going a while back. If you remember, there was talk, I think, if my memory's right, I think Klopp may have even addressed that link at one point. He was linked to Liverpool. I don't know. Again, I'll ask Graham Hunter if I get a chance what the story would be around Vinicius Jr. and at Real Madrid, whether they would be willing to part with him or, what their financial situation means that they're going to have to do. So the honest answer is, mate, I don't know, but there have been links there. Vardy might be tired because he's playing tonight, said Addison. Yeah, he is playing in that FA Cup game against Brighton, and he started as well in that game. So yeah, hopefully he's tired. Yeah, hopefully. 1-0 to Spurs in that one as well. Thank you to people for letting me know that. I do have the scores open here in front of me, actually. It's still Leicester 0, Brighton 0. Atalanta are 2-0 up against Napoli in the Coppa Italia, and Sevilla Barcelona still scoreless, and Spurs 1-0 up against Everton, and that goal was scored by Davinson Sanchez. So there you go, that's the latest, folks, with regards to the football that's going on. And as I said, as you can see pinned to the top of the chat, as soon as I'm finished, please do go over and join Jack Gill, who's doing the watch along of that that Spurs Everton game on Mundo Sporto. So please do go over there and show Jack some love when the stream's finished. There's a link right to the top of the chat there pinned. What do I think about Pedri? Looks a very good footballer, mate. I mean, Barcelona, as you know, is a club that are close to my heart and a club that I follow. I watch all of their games. I mean, I've made no secret of the fact that I have a great fondness for Barcelona. And he looks like a baller. But there's some good young talent. We've been linked to Ansu Fati as well recently, which surprised me. I mean, I can't see how Barcelona would let that young man go, but being linked to him, that made me very happy. KABAK needs to start, Josh. I would agree, mate. It'd be nice to see him start, and they were taking part in training, both the centre-backs today as well. Any news about the O goal? Kyle, as I touched on earlier on, still not back fully training, mate. Won't be available for the Leicester game. I would say we can safely say more than likely not going to be available for the first leg against Leipzig next week. But again, it's about not rushing him back, making sure that he's fit and ready to go, because there's still a long way to go in this season, and you don't want to be rushing players back, particularly with knee injuries and stuff like that. 1-0 to Sevilla. It is indeed, yes. 1-0 to Sevilla. Good show. That'll be interesting. As soon as I finish the stream, I'll be watching that. I can promise you. Is Gini replacement necessary though? Yes, I would say yes for him. Now, people are going to talk about Curtis Jones, and rightly so, because the lad's class. But I always looked at Curtis Jones as the Lallana replacement. Now, obviously, we've been linked with a few names. Rodrigo de Paul from Udinese was one of them, and a few other players that you guys would probably mention in the chat as well. But yes, I would say bringing in a Gini replacement is vital. I think that is something we have to do in the summer. 1-1 now in the Everton game. There you go. Goals galore in that one. An old poacher, a great shout. Would love to see more if we followed up the rebound, second balls. Yeah, I mean, I think I would safely say, if we were to look through the list of Liverpool players right now and who will probably move on in the summer, you're looking at Divock, you're looking at Shaqiri. We know Gini Wijnaldum is probably on his way to Barcelona. There's a few other fringe players the club could move on as well. Looking through the first team though, I mean, there's not really many more I can see potentially moving on, unless they sell one of the front three, which you would only imagine would ever happen if we had plans to sign somebody big, some superstar, or somebody who the club believe is the right time to sell one of the front three. And I've got no idea who that is or if it will happen. We should get Harry Kane. Again, I mean, imagine trying to deal with Daniel Levy on that one. I've always had this idea, and I don't know why I've spoken about this for years, but he's always looked to me like a Manchester United centre forward. Does that make any sense to anybody else? I mean, he's always. If he always joined another English club, it would be Manchester United. I can't explain why. You just sometimes get vibes about players fitting specific teams. Do I think Liverpool can still win the league? No, I don't, mate. Not 100%. Be honest with you, I don't. I mean, Manchester City are on an amazing run now of, I think, 14 wins in a row. For us, it's about making sure, in my mind, that we finish above United. That's the target right now for me. Finish above United, which I hope would take us to second place. See how far we can get in the Champions League, and that's honestly where I think we are. And look, we still have some work to do to catch United, because, you know, they have a lead over us and the league table doesn't lie. So we got to get our form right. We got to look after our own house and see where we are by the end of the season. Oh, fake scores, it's still 1-0. Sorry, it's not 1-1 in that Everton game. Apologies, still 1-0. There you go. I just try and take people at their honesty in the chat sometimes, and thank you for correcting that one for me, Kate. What have we got? Cody said the players I want Liverpool to get most is David Neres. I haven't followed him much, mate, since he broke through in that Ajax side and made it all the way to the semi-finals of the Champions League. Ryan Sessegnon seems to have gone very quiet during his time at Spurs, but I know he's on loan to Hoffenheim from Spurs. Yeah, he's somebody who I thought would have absolutely been nailed on to be a superstar. Sessegnon looked fantastic coming through at Fulham, and isn't his brother there? Doesn't he have a brother that's at Fulham as well? I think a younger brother. We need someone who does something but goal poach, Fowler-esque. I mean, Dave, I'd love a 9, mate, but I have a feeling we may. Let's play devil's advocate here and say that we went out and we signed RAPHINHA. If we were to do that, I would have a funny feeling that the plan would be that RAPHINHA would drift out. He's a left footer. He'd drift out into that right side where Salah is, and we may see Mo through the centre. And I'll be honest with you, I'd have no problem if Mohamed Salah was put through the centre as our number 9. I honestly wouldn't have any issues with that whatsoever. I think the way we play in our system, that would be fine with me. Man knows where the goal is. We must keep Genie, please. It looks like he's going to go, mate, from what everybody has been talking about. Of course, Genie is fully within his rights to sign a pre-contract agreement with any club outside of England because he's in the last 6 months of his contract. And like I've always said, if Genie Wijnaldum does leave Liverpool, he should leave with a massive thank you, a pat on the back for a job well done, and go down as one of the better players of the last 10 years at Liverpool, and somebody who I hold in very high esteem. Hey Craig, do you think that we're going to sell Salah and buy Raphinha, or do you think that Raphinha wants to leave Leeds? I've no idea if Raphinha wants to leave Leeds. Let's start there. And look, I don't think we'll sell Salah just to buy Raphinha. I think, if you were going to sell Salah, that would be to be going for a Sancho or an Mbappe, or you would only need to free up that much cash if you're going for a superstar, because let's be fair, Mohamed Salah is worth a far in excess of 120 million, maybe 150 million quid. Like he's a goal scoring machine who has broken records for fun, who is an amazingly talented footballer. Haaland or Mbappe? I've always said Mbappe for me, mate. I mean, I'm a sucker for somebody who, I know Haaland's a goal scoring machine, but Mina Raiola, the fact that maybe Manchester City are going to, I think, potentially throw an awful lot of money his way because they're going to need a replacement for Aguero. And if you want to get him before that clause kicks in this summer, then you're going to pay a pretty big premium. So he has a clause, I think, for next summer for about 75 million euro, something like that. But yeah, it's his agent that would be, Mina Raiola's. There's a lot of clubs that just won't deal with him. And I'm not saying Liverpool will or won't, by the way. I'm just saying there are a lot of clubs that don't like to deal with Mina Raiola. Mbappe, for me, the lad is pacey. I'm a sucker for pace as well. I really am. I'm a sucker for a lad who can just get down and run. Seeing the links, but Bayern don't seem to the team to spend 100 million plus. Seen the Mo to Bayern links. I haven't seen them. Honestly, for him, I haven't had a chance to see them, mate. But let's start with Bayern would be capable. I agree with you that it's not their usual, but Bayern Munich are a very, very well run and well funded football club that could afford that type of a deal. But I've no idea if there's any truth to it or not, buddy. But it would surprise me, like you've said. Swap deal, Raphinha and Origi or Shaqiri, both. How about both? Go both. That would make it fair, I think. Suarez to come back? Nah, he's settled in really nicely at Atleti. Looks like they're going to win La Liga this year, although they did draw points in a 2-2 draw with Celta Vigo. He's been very good for them, and Messi is very pissed off that they sold Suarez, and especially that they sold him to a rival who's now looks like they're going to go on and win La Liga. So I think they're 8 points clear, if my memory's correct, at the top of La Liga. Icardi wouldn't be a bad fit for Liverpool. Again, with some of the signings or some of the movement that might be going with Paris Saint-Germain, I don't think that they're going to want to lose potentially Mbappe and Icardi in the same window. So, but look, we've always known the talent that Icardi has. What would I think if Liverpool were to try to sign Rashford? It's just never going to happen in a million years. It's never going to happen, mate. I mean, I like Rashford as a footballer. I like him even more as a human being. He's a wonderful fella, and I can't speak highly enough of the work he's done for hungry kids. It's sensational, but those transfers between Liverpool and United are very, 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 very rare, and that ain't going to happen. Pedro Neto, I've talked about a little bit earlier on, Scott. He's in the conversation with the Raphinhas, the Harvey Barnes and Pedro Neto. They're the three guys that are potential Liverpool signings. Neto, for me, the most inexperienced of the three. I would rather Harvey Barnes or Raphinha, if I'm being honest, at this moment in time, because they're a little bit further along in their development. Any news on Jota? Just that he's not back training yet, mate. Not back fully training. We'd seen him do little bits and pieces, some fitness work and stuff, but he hasn't joined the main group yet and isn't back in training. Again, for those people who are coming in a little bit late, just to recap, Thiago missed training today, Fabinho missed training today, Queevy and Kelleher missed training today. Gini Wijnaldum was training separately from the rest of the squad. I think it was to do with a fitness or a tailored regime for Gini for something. And again, no Diogo Jota and no Naby Keita yet with the main group either. So that's unfortunately where we are at. That's not to say that those players that didn't train today are ruled out of the game against Leicester. I honestly don't know. But, you can search the pictures are out there. Like, they weren't spotted in training today. Could you see Jota starting instead of Bobby when he gets fit? 100%. Absolutely. I mean, there's a very good argument for moving Bobby back to become the attacking midfielder. Maybe putting Jota through the centre or even Mo through the centre and moving Jota around. Like, I'd like our front three to be... Back when Klopp came in, they interchanged a lot more. It was very hard for people to pick them up because we had players that were just crisscrossing and moving over. And then if you're a defender, are you man marking somebody? Do you follow him if he switches sides? What do you do? So I'd like us to get back to that. A bit more craziness in our attack. A bit more kind of the red arrows, if you get where I'm coming from. What else have we got? We don't need a tall striker. Kane, he doesn't fit our system. We don't play wide enough. To be fair to Harry Kane, though, what I will say is the man has reinvented his game to link up with Son as well. It's made my admiration for Kane grow tremendously. To see him, we've always known he's a finisher. We've always known he's a goal scoring machine. But to see this season the new role he's adapted in helping to link up with Son, I think that it just shows what calibre of footballer he is. What's up? How are you, King Prindle? Welcome in, mate. Neto was a baller. Look, no denying it. Good footballer, absolutely. And again, if there's somebody in our camp who will know about Pedro Neto, it is Pep Lijnders, who of course worked for 7 years as a coach with Porto and in Portugal, has very good contacts. I mean, when we did our research on Diogo Jota, it was Lijnders who I have to say Lijnders now because that's the correct pronunciation apparently, who had the contacts there and everything he heard was glowing, and that's where the Diogo Jota deal went ahead. Obviously the clubs had to agree the finances and stuff like that as well. But again, I think Diogo Jota is represented by the Guest a Few agency, the George Mendes agency that Fabinho was also represented by. So, a lot of the Portuguese players would be represented by the Guest a Few agency, and Liverpool have a good working relationship with George Mendes and that agency. Do you think Bamford is going to the England team? Please don't take this the wrong way, but I honestly couldn't give one shiny shit who goes into the England team or not, mate. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful. The English national team is not my business nor my concern. I've no ill will, but I haven't kept track. I don't know. I don't think about it. I've got no idea. That's the honest answer. I mean, I've no idea why Southgate's thinking or how highly he rates them. Sorry. Craig, everyone is lording City, but they're still 2 points worse off in the league now than this time last season, and we know how far we were behind us last season. Season's only half done. Everyone's lording City, and look, they deserve the credit. They've put the run together, and they deserve the credit. What gets to me is, so as you've said, City are receiving plaudits, and rightly so, for their good play this season and the points that they've achieved. But last season when we were doing it, it was because everyone else was shit. Do you know what I mean? No credit. It's because the league was shit, everyone was shit, and it was an off season. Now that we're getting back to more realistic numbers, and let's look at the numbers that the Premier League has been won with over the past 15 or 20 years. Those 98, 99, 100 point tallies, that's only been when Liverpool and Manchester City have been at the absolute peak of their powers and pushing each other all the way. So I think there's a fair point in what you're saying. And yes, the season isn't over, but without our three centre backs, Matip, Gomez, Van Dijk for the whole season, I find it very hard to believe we'll pull ourselves back into a title race. Oh, of course, more than happy to be wrong on that, mate. But I think it's more important that we knuckle down and make sure that we get ourselves into the Champions League next season. That is vital for us. Keegan Murphy, thank you for the super chat, buddy. Said much love to all. Just had a daughter. This will be my last super as a member. Appreciate everything you guys do. Keep up the good stuff. Oh, mate, congratulations. Oh, pal, new baby in the world. That's beautiful news, Keegan. Lots of love to you and your beautiful new daughter, mate, from all of us in the channel. Can we fill the channel? Can we fill the chat up with love hearts for Keegan? A brand new baby daughter. That's always great to hear, buddy. I love a bit of good news, me, mate. So thank you for sharing that with us, pal. And the whole community, man. We're right behind you. Oh, that's beautiful news, pal. Honestly, absolutely class. Couldn't be happier for you. And yeah, there's the love hearts going in right now from our first subscribers. Man, that's brilliant. Honestly, always good to hear good news, man. Brilliant. That's made me smile, mate. And I'm somebody who I have kids just melt my heart, man. Do you know what I mean? I can't wait to have grandkids. I mean, I know I'm only 39, but my days of having children are over. And I mean medically over. You know that type of over. So yeah, I've got my two beautiful children, but I can't wait to have grandkids, man. I go soft as a puddle. I just love kids. They just make me smile. They're just brilliant. And yeah, I know that somebody's gonna be smart arse and clip up that I love kids part and try and make me look like a nonce, but man, if a child's smile doesn't melt your heart, then I give up, honestly. And speaking of children, ladies and gentlemen, I want to just remind you, and let's not let this go out of our minds right now. This young man here, Chris Legit's nephew in Poland, still trying to raise awareness, and we're still trying to catch the eye of the right people and raise money for this young man. He is 2 years of age, about to turn 3 years of age, and is in dire need of a liver transplant. Now here's the background on this story. His father is a match and is of course a willing donor. It's a very difficult operation. The young man was born at just under, I think, 1.5 pounds, something around that, and has been a fighter since day one. He needs a liver transplant badly. The hospital in Poland aren't able to do the operation. They referred him to a hospital in, I think it was a part of Belgium, I think. Brussels, excuse me. It was a hospital in Brussels, I believe, who originally thought that they were going to be able to perform the operation, but after looking into everything, running tests, they thought it was a little bit too difficult or a little bit too risky for them. The only hospital in the world that has the expertise and the ability to perform this operation is the Chicago Children's Hospital. The Chicago Children's Hospital have very kindly given the family a grant of $1 million towards the cost of travel, the operation and expenses, but the total cost is $1.8 million. And we want to try and raise awareness and try and raise as much money as we can and as much awareness as we can for Chris. I spoke to Chris and his mother, who is, Chris is the uncle of this child. I spoke to him on the phone the other day. I know that the guys at Boyle Sports are trying to help out. Claude and the Bances and their team are spreading this on social media as well. Anything that we can do, folks, because this is a child who hasn't had a chance to have a childhood yet. This is a child that deserves a chance at life. And to think as a parent that money can be the difference between your child potentially having a life-saving operation and not breaks my heart in ways that I cannot describe. So if you can help in any way, there is a link to this in the description of the stream. Go over to our social media accounts as well. If you contact us, we'll give you any information that you do need, but please try and help this young man, because Chris Legit is one of our own, and this story really is one that deserves as much public knowledge and as much public viewing as we can get it. So hopefully the family are due to fly out on March the 1st over to Chicago to prep for the operation and get ready, and unfortunately the young man doesn't have long to go after that. So if there's anything we can do, any way we can help, I know a lot of you guys have donated already and that has been amazing to see, but even sharing it on social media or tagging people that might be able to help raise awareness, reach a charity, anything at all to try and get this young man to have a future. I mean, I appreciate your love as always, folks, and I know that you guys will hit that share button anyway. Thank you. Craig, for Grandad, love the work you do, said Prayers. Thank you, man. I can't wait, honestly, because being a granddad would be cool, because you get all the fun stuff, but you get you get to give the child back then as well, so you don't get the sleepless nights, you just get the fun. Let's be honest, Keane has been building that up for a while. hates to see Liverpool shining. Oh, we were talking about Roy Keane there. Yeah, look, he's had a bit of a little bit of an over the top dig. And look, Richard Keys, old hairy hands himself, has been coming out with the usual garbage around Thiago and stuff. But I've let beIN Sports know. I tagged him on Twitter today. So if you want to do me a favour, get over to my Twitter account. It's at Craig Holden, spelled HOULDEN. I'll whack it into the chat there for you guys. 1 second. If you guys go over, that's my Twitter account handle. If you guys go over to my Twitter account, you'll see that I tagged beIN Sports in a tweet and said, guys, my offer still stands to come over and replace Keys and Gray. If you want that, it's always there. Hit me up. Go over there, give that a like and retweet it for me for a laugh. And I really do not like Richard Keys and Andy Gray. I think they are dinosaurs that have had their day and should be removed from the game. Their opinions, particularly Richard Keys, are beyond ridiculous. I mean, Richard Keys just talks an awful lot of garbage. Who do you think we should sign and sell in the summer? I've gone through that earlier on in the video, man. Real quickly, sell Shaqiri, sell Divock Origi, Nat Phillips will move on. Who else? Gini Wijnaldum looks like he's going to move on. A couple of other fringe players could potentially move on. I don't think there's really that much more space to be moving people on. It's more about who we bring in, as you said. And I've spoke about the links to RAPHINHA, Pedro Neto, Harvey Barnes. We've spoke about the Mbappe stuff as well. So, if you go back and watch it back later on, there is lots of stuff to get through there. Yes, Kevin, I started off tonight's stream and I'll end tonight's stream in the same way. Jurgen Klopp's mother Elizabeth sadly passed away recently, and on behalf of all of us, not just on the channel but football fans around the world, we send our love, our best wishes and our sympathies to Jurgen Klopp and his family, because that woman gave birth to the man that is Jurgen Klopp, that has inspired a generation of football fans around the world, inspired a generation of German kids to play football, inspired Liverpool fans, Dortmund fans, and it has just brought a smile to anybody who he's been around. And his mother is the reason for that, and of course his father as well. So from all of us, our love, condolences and best wishes are there for Kloppo and his family, and yeah, may she rest in peace. I mean, and yet the gaffer, still unable to attend her funeral, still had to stay and do his job with the Reds, and I can't imagine what that must have been like for the man not to be able to attend his mother's funeral. So yeah, again, I'll end the stream by saying our thoughts and best wishes and prayers go out to Jurgen Klopp and his family from all the football family around the world. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it for tonight. Please do go over and join Jack for the second half of the Everton game against Spurs on Mundo Sporto. There is a link pinned to the top of the chat right there now. Hit the subscribe button, drop a like on the video, and don't forget to subscribe to Mundo Sporto while you're over there as well. Lots of stuff coming up on the channel tomorrow. Starting at 4:30, we'll all be joined by Lee Chappie for a Leicester fan preview of the game coming up on Saturday. Thank you to you all. Lots of love to each and every one of you. I hope that you're all well and safe. Thank